Hey, welcome back to Shepherd's Cove. Still August 13th, 2025. So, to touch on what I mentioned yesterday about hope, you need three things for hope, right? You need, your values, you need your control, and you need your community. You know, without all three of those, you're going to lose hope. So, some that I was reminded. Funny, there's a saying that I would use every once in a while. I just found out who it was that said it originally. Tom Waits was his singer songwriter, American rock. Yeah, one day, somebody was giving him shit about being a drunk, you know, and his response was, "Man, I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy." I've said that many times. I didn't know where it came from. Thought that was funny. So, the frontal lobotomy, what it does is basically they drill a hole in your eye socket and use a ice pick to remove, a portion of your brain from, your frontal lobe there. And, well, that's for people that are anxious and excessively angry or depressed to no end. And, they've got serious mental illness. You know, nowadays, we got meds for that. I won't fuck with them, but hey. So, what that does is when you get a frontal lobotomy, it removes, you know, your emotions. So, at first, this dude, won all kinds of awards for such an amazing, medical breakthrough. Well, come to find out, everybody was turning into daggone potatoes. They just, they had no, real feelings, no values. Losing $1 million deal was about the same as, you know, having a pimple. Didn't mean shit to him. And so people weren't able to, function in life. They're just, were daggone, they were able to do math. They were able to remember shit. They were able to, do what they normally do, but there was no emotional response. A test that was given was a whole bunch of pictures of murders and children being murdered and all kinds of other crazy, pictures. And homeboy had no response. He's like, yeah, last year if I'd have seen those pictures, I'd have been freaked out, and I'd have had a response, but not right now. I'm carried away. It's just, and it was until the mid 50s, no, early 61 or 60, 61, I believe, is when they started frowning on frontal lobotomies. And it's funny, it was Joseph Stalin, their own Soviet leader, he was the one that brought it to the world that this was ethically inappropriate, to take away, the basic human priorities in general. Go figure, right? Yeah, all the crazy practices that dude did in the medical industry. And the point being, without emotion, and without a community, and without, some sort of control over our lives, values, emotions, and community, we have no hope. So, hope you find a little hope today. Have a good day.